Once Upon a Time from the Oosterhout Free Library, actually Once Upon a Friday, first page is Friday from the Oosterhout Free Library. I'm here to bring you the beginning of Isle of the Lost, the first of the series of Descendants novels. I'm Miss Melissa. Isle of the Lost was written by Melissa De la Cruz and published by Disney Hyperion. Now we have lots and lots of versions of the classic fairy tales here, including the originals, which are always interesting. And you can also find the Descendants series and other fairy tales on the Free Cloud Library app, which you can download from oosterhout.info. Once upon a time, during a time after all the happily ever afters, and perhaps even after the ever afters after that, all the evil villains of the world were banished from the United Kingdom of Ardan and imprisoned on the Isle of the Lost. There, underneath a protective dome that kept all manner of enchantment out of their clutches, the terrible, the treacherous, the truly awful, and the severely sinister were cursed to live without the power of magic. King Beast declared the villains exiled forever. Forever, as it turns out, is quite a long time, longer than an enchanted princess can sleep, longer even than an imprisoned maiden's tower of golden hair, longer than a week of being turned into a frog, and certainly much longer than waiting for a prince to finally get around to placing that glass slipper on your foot already. Forever is a long, long time, 10 years to be specific. 10 years that these legendary villains have been trapped on a floating prison of rock and rubble. Okay, so you might say 10 years isn't such a long time, considering, but for these conjurers and witches, visors and sorcerers, evil queens and dark fairies, to live without magic was a sentence worse than death. And some of them were brought back from death, only to be placed on this island. So they should know. Without their awesome powers to dominate and hypnotize, terrorize and threaten, create thunderclouds and lightning storms, transform and disguise their features, or lie and manipulate their way into getting exactly what they wanted, they were reduced to hard scrabble lives, eking a living, selling and eating slop, scaring no one but their own minions, and stealing from each other. It was hard even for them to imagine they had once been great and powerful, these poisoners of forest apples and thieves of undersea voices, these usurpers of royal powers and owners of petulant mirrors. Now their lives were anything but powerful. Now they were ordinary, everyday, dare it be said, dull. So it was with great excitement and no small fanfare that the island gathered for a one-of-a-kind event, a 6-year-old princess's wickedly wonderful birthday party. Wicked being something of a relative term under a dome that houses a bunch of powerless former villains. In any event, a party it was. It was the most magnificent celebration the isolated island and its banished citizens had ever seen, and tales of its Gothic grandeur and obnoxious opulence would be told for years to come. The party to end all parties, this lavish occasion transformed the ramshackle bazaar and its rotting storefronts in the middle of the island into a spookily spectacular playground full of ghostly lanterns and flickering candles. Weeks before, a flock of vultures had circled the land, dropping invitations on every shabby doorstep and hovel, so that every grubby little urchin from every corner of the island would be able to partake in this enchanting and extraordinary event. Every little urchin on the island, that is, except for one malicious fairy. Whether her invitation was lost to the winds, or torn to tatters, or devoured by the hungry buzzards themselves, or never even addressed in that looping royal scrawl, as was suspected, we will never know, but the result was the same. Well, the results of parties and balls given in fairy tales is always very exciting for good or for bad. So you're going to want to check this out. Here are some of the descendants of villains that live on this island. Mal. At 16, Maleficent's daughter is the most talented student at Dragon Hall and best known for her evil schemes. Evie. Having been castle schooled for years, Evil Queen's daughter Evie doesn't know the ins and outs of Dragon Hall. Jay. As the son of Jafar, Jay is a boy of many talents. Carlos. Cruella de Vil's son may not be the bravest, but he's certainly clever. Carlos's inventions may be the missing piece in locating the dragon's eye and ending their banishment for good. I'll see you Wednesday online for Book Bites, where I read books in installments, and we have lots of them now, going back a couple of years. And don't miss Miss Kristen's Science Saturdays, also online. See you soon.